said, you know, the troops shouldn't be there, they should be there, then Alexandra would tell her husband the troops should be there, and the troops would get moved. In essence, this man was almost running the country. This freak was running the country, and the war was going awful. Absolutely awful, okay? In the beginning, they just started losing battle after battle after battle. There's the famous Battle of Tannenberg, the only one you really need to know about on the Eastern Front. By 1916, Russian soldiers would go to the battles without guns and were told to just be patient, that somebody would die soon enough that you could get a gun. This is how bad the war was going, okay? So that by the end of 1916, people had almost completely lost faith in the Russian government and in the Tsar, and they decided that they needed to try to assassinate Rasputin. And I don't care if I keep it at 2 o'clock, you got to hear this story, because you're never going to believe it. The person who decided, or the people who decided, were led by a major. I don't remember his name, it's not relevant. But the major and his accomplices decided that they needed to get rid of Rasputin. These are people in the court itself who knew what Rasputin was doing, but couldn't tell anybody. They needed to get rid of him. And so they decided to assassinate him. Now check it out. Again, this freaky guy. You ain't heard nothing yet. How are they going to assassinate him? They're going to poison him. They're going to invite him to dinner, they're going to poison him. So they invite Rasputin to this really nice, fancy dinner in the basement of the major's home. Really nice little place. He's got the red tablecloth, nice great steak, and 2 beautiful bottles of wine, one of which is poisoned. And so Rasputin is drinking the wine. He drinks the whole goblet almost immediately. Whole thing of poison. Nothing happens. The major's freaking out. He runs upstairs. Excuse me, I gotta run upstairs for a second. Goes to his compass. It didn't work. Gave him all this poison, enough to kill an elephant. He's fine, he's not sweating, nothing, he's joking, whatever. Give another glass! Runs back downstairs. Pours another bottle of wine from the poisoned bottle to Rasputin. Rasputin drinks that one up, no problem. Nothing happens. The major runs back upstairs. The guy won't die! I gave him enough poison to kill a herd of elephants, and he's fine! What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Just shoot the son of a bitch! Runs back downstairs. Continues the dinner. At some point, you realize, all right, now's the time. Pulls out his gun at point-blank range, shoots Rasputin right in the chest. Rasputin gets up. Ah! After being shot in the chest, runs upstairs. The major gives chase, follows him. Rasputin gets out into the front yard. He shoots Rasputin in the back. Rasputin falls down, gets up, and keeps running. What the hell? The major's following literally through the streets of Moscow, shooting at him, missing, hitting. Rasputin's still running. He's got enough poison to kill a herd of elephants and 2 gunshot wounds in him. He gets to the bridge. It's wintertime. The bridge is slippery. He slips on the ice on the bridge, falls over onto the ice, through the ice. The current takes him further down, so he's trapped underneath the frozen river. His body is fished out a few hours later, and they discover that he had a ton of poison in him, that he had at least 2 fatal gunshot wounds, and he drowned to death. Nobody to this day knows what the hell is all about this guy, but it's all true. What you need to understand, however, is that it made absolutely no difference that they had killed Rasputin. By this point in time, the damage had been done. The people of Russia had lost their faith in their Tsar, and they were revolted in March of 1917, and they stayed in the war until November of 1917, and Lenin comes to power. Now, understand what I'm talking about here. Nuclear terrorism is a result of the massive number of nuclear weapons that were built because of the Cold War, that was fought because of communism in Russia, which happened because the Russian people had lost their faith in their Tsar because a little boy had hemophilia. It is a direct cause and effect, ladies and gentlemen. If Alexei did not have hemophilia, or if Rasputin couldn't have cured it, the Russian people would have not lost faith in the Tsar at least as quickly, and even if they had revolted, they would have revolted later on, probably after the war, meaning that Lenin would have been in Switzerland all his life. The Germans would have had no reason to send Lenin to Russia. There would never have been a communist revolution, and everything we know about the world would have never happened except for one boy. You may say, wow. Absolutely positively true story. And I'm not even done. There's more. The war goes on, of course, outside of Russia. Inside of Russia, you've got a communist revolution being fought. Lenin takes power, as we know, okay? And I don't have time, you'll get all this in your textbook, most of it. He promises the people peace, land, and bread, all power to the Soviets, and he fights a terrible civil war between the communists on one side and the capitalists on the other. He has to have a secret police investigating his people, okay? He has a Red Army, and he starts taking away all of the capitalists' things, their factories, etc., etc., okay? In all of this time, Lenin is fighting this civil war. They call it the Reds versus the Whites, the communists versus the non-communists. What was going on with the family? Alexei is still alive. Nicholas abdicated, and he wasn't put in prison. He was sent to the Summer Palace, where he stayed for a while. Okay? The entire family lived like everyday people. Nicholas, his wife Alexandra, their 4 beautiful daughters, including Anastasia, and young Alexei, as a normal family. And you can say whatever you want about Nicholas Romanov. You can say he was a terrible czar, a rotten leader. You can give every possible criticism you want of him, but you cannot take away the fact that he was a good father. And in many cases, that may have been his downfall. It is his and Alexandra's incredible love for their son which allowed them, or caused them, to let Rasputin have so much influence, which caused the Russian Revolution. So maybe you could say if they didn't love their son so much, none of this would have happened. But they did. The question is, what will happen to them? What will happen to all of them, including Anastasia? And she will do more than simply become a cartoon character in a movie you've seen. Do you have any questions? Yes?
Didn't that whole family get, like, assassinated?